Welcome to BluntAdvice, the short-form show that delivers cannabis industry insight and information in quick hits to help you operate your cannabis on a higher level. Here are your blunt hosts, Francesca and Mike.
In all our travels across the country, working with different cannabis businesses and doing different trade shows and talking with so many people in this industry or who want to get in this industry, we keep hearing the same question, which is, what does it take to make a successful cannabis business?
Yeah, it's a very common question, and I get it. I asked that same question years ago at my first MJ Biz. But in the first part of this answer, I think, is what is success? Because success is different for everybody. If you go into this industry and you want to start a successful cannabis business, does that mean you're doing it for profit only?
Right.
Like, it's got to be partly profit, or else you're not going to last. But it's got to be profit. But what else goes along with it? Is it like the financial security or like
the freedom to do the thing that you follow and you're passionate about, or
like independence?
Yes.
You know, you're your own boss now instead of relying on somebody else. I think a lot of it too in this business especially is the lifestyle.
It is.
Because cannabis is a business, but it's also a lifestyle, which is pretty unique in all of business. There's not many that are like that. So I think a lot of people view that as a success.
Yeah, it's also a product that has a purpose. So that's also another way to define it. But regardless of how you define success, we are here to give you some blunt advice on exactly what it does take. You can't do it without it to have a successful cannabis. So, number one, let's do this, is an unwavering focus on product quality. Product quality's got to be number one. And I don't care if you're doing a product, if you're doing a service, if you're doing whatever it is, you've got to make it high quality, because that's how people are going to remember you. You are standing out in a saturated market. You have to show off an expertise. You are doing something that is it's a new industry, so you've got to make sure you're doing it exceptionally well.
Right. And I think, one of the things we talked about before that we see a lot is if you start off at low product quality, it's really, really hard to change your consumers or your customers' perception of your brand to all of a sudden be a high product quality. So if you look at like a crummy car or bad cheap beverage, RC Cola, isn't going to all of a sudden be on the same
level as like Pepsi.
Or for sure. So it's really hard to do that. So if you start high, it's easy to stay high. If you start low, you got to battle an expensive, long battle to change perception. Yeah,
with a lot lower win rate. So that's for sure. You've got to get product quality.
And with quality, I think the cousin of quality is consistency.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because, I think if you're inconsistent, your quality is going to reflect that. So the consistency, whether it's consistency of product, and I like how you said services, because there's that too. There's a lot of people who are marketing people or accountants or lawyers. Like, you don't want an inconsistent accountant or an inconsistent lawyer, right? So, consistency goes along with it, in whether it's a product or a service.
Yeah, and I think to get that consistency, the thing that you need is to make sure that you have the systems and processes that deliver that consistency.
So that's number two.
Yes. So and that takes an investment. You've got to make sure that you're either paying for the software that automates something, or you are investing in the time for people to create SOPs and to make sure that they're documenting processes and then following it the same every time. You have systems of checks and balances. You need, whether that's managing inventory, managing a grow, managing a service agency, it doesn't matter. There are systems and processes that are going to deliver consistency, which is going to help your product quality.
It's 100% right. And I think the hard pill to swallow here, and I've been in this situation, you've been in this situation, is it's a lot of upfront money to buy these automations, but down the road it's going to pay off in terms of just efficiency. It's a lot of time to create process and to make sure the process fits now and is going to continue to fit as your business grows and evolves. Yeah. So to do that, there's not really an ROI. It's not like you're going to look at the profit and loss and go, oh, boom, look at that. We just grew because it's never there. It's hidden. But I can promise
it hidden in?
It's hidden everywhere, the entire sheet.
Yeah.
It's like every part of your business is the process and procedures in every part, every line item of your profit and loss. Is I think what I'm trying to say there in a lot of words. But it really is. It's like one of those foundational investments that really is going to allow your business to operate efficiently and thrive in the future.
And it's a boring thing. It's like investing in your heating and your roof of the house instead of redecorating your living room. Of course you want to redecorate. Of course you want this sexy stuff that you get to see. But you also need a roof over your head and heat in your home.
It's like fixing your foundation.
Big time. Yep. So you got to have that.
Yep.
So I think there's one that we absolutely have to mention, which is that you need a strong brand that differentiates and evolves over time. That is essential. Because your brand is really how people are going to value what you bring to the market. If it's a good brand, they're going to really invest in that brand. They're going to be fans of it. They're going to be sharing your brand. They're going to be talking about it and buying it and promoting it. So branding is extremely important.
So we're on the same page. What fits under that umbrella of a brand? Because a lot of people are, we run into this a lot. People are like, here's my logo, and that's my brand.
Yeah, you're right. They give us the name and the logo and they say that's their brand. That's not your brand, by the way. Your brand is everything because your brand is the experience and the personality, the values, the mission that your product and your company actually has. So it has to be authentic because people can smell fake a mile away. Mm-hmm. And it's got to connect with who your target audience is because a brand that speaks to me is not going to be the same brand that speaks to like my grandmother, even if we're both consumers or fans of the same product and service. So your brand encompasses everything that shows who you are, your website, your fonts, your colors, your logo, your packaging, your social, your voice, everything is your brand.
Right, and I think that when you mentioned strong brand.
Yes.
And I think when I see a strong brand, all those things work harmoniously. Mm-hmm. They all speak the same language. They all have the same look. That the consistency across the brand is so rare, but it's so refreshing when you see it. And it's very professional, and it's just the lifeblood of a company.
Yeah.
Versus like a haphazard, the social looks one way, the website looks another, the packaging is different. And when that happens, that's when it's confusing for the consumer. Mm-hmm. It's hard to get any sort of loyalty or any sort of just brand recognition and repeat sales.
Yeah, think about it. If you invest all of your money, if you're a farmer, into the product quality, and then you go cheap on your packaging and you try to sell it top dollar, there's a dissonance there. I'm getting this cheap looking product. That tells me something that I'm going to believe is true about your product before I even experience
it. Or imagine you're Planet Hollywood and you have this awesome storefront, and then when you go inside the doors and it's all bottom shelf.
Yeah,
imagine that.
Exactly. So you've got to know who you are, who you're serving, and make sure you're communicating and connecting with those people at all times.
Yep.
That's super important.
There's one more I want to bring up.
Go for it.
I think you probably know where I'm going with this one, but in my view, I think investing in your people absolutely fits on this list of successful business qualities. It's something that I think a lot of people overlook, especially
in cannabis.
Yeah, especially in cannabis because everything's happening so fast.
Yeah.
And so people are, whether it's licensing, now this and that, and there's a million things going on. Typically people are short-staffed. Mm-hmm. And
especially now.
A lot of people wearing a lot of hats. And one thing that is easy to slip through the cracks is proper training, retraining, building a strong culture, mm-hmm. Putting people in the right seats for their strengths and for their interests. And that's something I've been a firm believer in my career, and I've seen it pay off. I've seen, just employee retention is magnified, satisfaction, all that kind of stuff, all goes with having the great culture and people in the right jobs.
Yeah, you're so right. Because if you don't do that, you could have a toxic work environment because of one employee. You can have an incessant turnover that's going to cost you a fortune. You're going to never have the consistency of your brand if there's always new people trying to learn it and then share it. You're going to lose track of the systems and processes because you don't have any old heads there that know exactly what's going on, and that might even leak into the quality of your product or service. And
it
so
100% leaks into the quality.
It's essential, and you're right, people are missing it because we all believe that we're in the great resignation, and it's like, well, no, I think there are people that are out there that want jobs. They just want a fair job. They want to feel good at their job. They want to be paid right for their job. They want to know that there's growth in their job. They want to have direction, a leader with a vision that is invested in them. That's what they want, and you will you'll be reading about the Great Resignation, not living it.
Right. And so I think there are companies that do a great job at this. And it's easy to see when we walk into one of the organizations, whether it's a producer or a retail center, like you can tell. You can tell within 5 minutes of walking in there which the vibe is different.
It is. It's all vibes.
And that is very tangible, especially when you, like us, we're looking for that. So I think that's an important one that is easy to get overlooked, and I want to make sure we could squeeze it in here with this blunt advice.
Yeah. Well, I think we've shared a lot, which means that we need to just roll this all up and take a couple of quick hits from this blunt advice. So first thing that we want to quick hit is the unwavering focus on product quality is essential to having a successful cannabis.
Number 2, investment in systems and process.
Yes. Number 3, a strong brand that differentiates and evolves over time.
Number 4, identify and take care of your people. They're going to be there a lot longer than you are, probably.
And we want to hear feedback from you. You know, we like to give the blunt advice and we want the blunt feedback. So make sure you reach out to us at BluntAdvice@infusedmedia.io. You can email us there. Give us some blunt feedback. We want to hear it.
All right. Well, that wraps it up. I'm Mike.
I'm Francesca. And in the time you say it took you to do today's Wordle, we've given you some blunt advice.